Hello once again everyone, welcome back to the audience. Today's video is going to be going over a lot of the recent changes Elsword has made to basically every member of the cast. There's a bunch to go over, so let's jump right in. Although I'll only be covering the changes I only consider to be important to cover. If you want to read the rest, follow the link in the description. Animos received a significant buff to her Rhythm of Combat passive, reducing violent attacks cooldown by 5 seconds, up from 3 seconds after using Dive Kick Bombing. Dive Kick Bombing's casting speed increased by 17%, and Animos now remains stationary during its use. Twilight's Calculated Strikes passive cooldown decreased from 3 seconds to 2 seconds, and her mod Arrow Tornado Darkened Forest now ignores 60% defense, up from 40%. Prophetess's Lyrical Flow casting speed increased by 30%, and she stays still while casting, and its cancel timing was adjusted. Additionally, Prophetess's mod Arrow Tornado Chorus of Unity now deals more damage in PvE. Elsword received a massive update to his character system. His Way of the Sword passive has been changed to allow players to freely swap between Destruction and Vitality auras to enhance his abilities with no restrictions. Knight Emperor received some updated passives to allow more uptime on his self buffs. Some of Rune Master's abilities got changed to not knock up enemies, as well as reworks to his skill cooldown passive. Immortal got several cast speed increases and is able to buff his parties more with cooldown acceleration. Genesis is largely untouched but will benefit from the Way of the Sword character system change greatly. Aisha has gotten a complete rework to her Memorize system. While skills can no longer be activated through it, their damage is now increased by 20%. Pressing the V key will remove the Memorize skill and reset its cooldown. Aether Sage's Awakened Well Elemental Master passive now reduces Memorize skill cooldown by 30% instead of 90%, correlating with the Memorize rework. The restrictions on her double casting and Sage's Wisdom passives have been removed, and a dedicated UI for element stacks and Aether has been added. Similarly, restrictions on Oz Sorcerer's Hellstone and Lord Azos Drop Poison related to the Memorize rework have also been removed due to it. Furious Blade's Extreme Response passive now has separate PvE and PvP durations. It lasts for 30 seconds in PvE. His Counterwave passive now visually distinguishes skills benefiting from its effects. Rageheart's Relentless Power passive now includes Maximum Cannon and Guardian Strike as activation conditions. Nova Imperator's increased magical damage effect for enemies got moved from Ignition Crow Napalm to Ignition Crow Incinerator, mod and unmod. Revenant's Catacomb skill now spawns Soul of the Dead on the enemy hit with increased homing speed. However, his Obliteration's passive HP recovery was removed, but its cooldown reduction has been decreased from 5 seconds to 3 seconds. Raven's updates include significant quality of life changes for Furious Blade especially. Eve received an immediate nerf, with Destruction Aura now only applying to herself. Code Ultimate received buffs to generate Black Hole to reduce movement during casting. Her V key now has an increased duration to 15 seconds. Her Concentration Aura now has a 30% magical defense reduction on hit with active Destruction Aura buff applied. Atomic Shield now has a faster cast, it moves with Eve. Atomic Blaster now has an adjusted plasma bullet spawn, is affected by action speed, no caster movement, adjusted cancel timing, and increased damage. And the passive Reinforced Nasad Weapons now has a damage increase to all strength and bravery skills instead of just Nasad spear skills. Code Serial had her V key effects buffed to 30% defense ignore, mid-boss priority increased to 15 seconds and 30 seconds respectively. Mod Dimension Link Guardian Breaker has been adjusted so the Electron Ball size and spawn location has been changed and it no longer pushes. Evolution now has a 10% crit damage debuff for 10 seconds added. Code Antitheist was nerfed overall, but Masquerade now gives allies a 10% physical attack buff for allies within the stage. Comet Crusader's Lunatic Fury dash distance has been reduced, benefiting Doom Aporia players. Centurion's Aquadama Thieves mod has a 30% faster cast speed, quicker Quantum Platina spawn, and adjusted spawn location. Devi's Life Swap has been nerfed with a 100% MP cost increase, but buffed to recover 10 energy, up from 2. Mod Life Swap has been buffed to lower HP cost, add 1 energy, and activate every second, formerly every 5. Falling Dragon Nirvana's Calamity mod has been nerfed to cost 180 MP, up from 150, but has been buffed to cost 4 energy, down from 5. Shadowweave Kudo's Descent mod has been nerfed to cost 140 MP, up from 110, but buffed to cost 4 energy, down from 5. Surya has also gotten a change to her joining passive to change its max stacks to 50 from 100, but the PvE skill damage per stack has also been increased to 0.4% times the stack from 0.2%. Elesis can now freely switch between Annihilation and Gale with her V key due to her Chivalry gauge being removed like Elsword's. Empire Sword's Triple Sonic no longer dashes, benefiting Doomophoria players. Enhanced Agility provides an additional 3% speed buff for 30 seconds. Flame Lord's Infernal Blade dash distance is reduced, which also benefits Doomophoria players. Seed of Fire now reduces all skill cooldowns by 20%. Ignish Crusher activates in the air or on the ground. Bloody Queen gains Sword of the Abyss immediately after Brutal Cutter is used in Gale mode. Awakened Will Crimson Avenger is now duration based. Avenger now absorbs more HP, 0.8%, and Piercing/Plague activation chance has been increased to 8%. Mod Brandish Breaker now no longer scales with HP and is now a blood hit skill. Adrestia's Indomitable passive activates Indomitable buff and applies Divine Manus at stage 3 Awakening regardless of the active Chivalry. Doombringer's Brutal Quake has had its casting speed increased by 10%, and its DMP cost negation now applies to the cast. Mad Paradox's ESP passive now grants 10% damage reduction and 20% special active damage when 1 to 3 enemies are nearby. His Mod Particle Accelerator entropy skill generates the space faster. Overmind's Cure Bravery skill no longer gains extra hitboxes from allies, and his Nocebo Effect mod skill always enhances skills under the effect. Luciel's Aura of Punishment was nerfed to only apply to them. Catastrophe's Creeping Terror, Ambush Attack, and Phantom Blade now always apply back attack effects to enemies who can't be hit from behind. Soul Collector's passive now shows a 30-second duration and loses 1 stack upon expiration. Reign of Chaos's casting speed is buffed and CL won't move backwards when casting. Blue's Shadow Bolt now grants a 10% critical damage increase for 15 seconds. Mod Soul Infect Chaos Ejection no longer consumes the combination gauge and has improved motion for CL. Diangelion's Manic Demon Form Thirst now gives a static 20% attack and 6% damage reduction increase at a wider range. Mod Altar of Evil now increases critical damage received by 12% instead of additional damage when entering/canceling Manic mode. Demercio's Awakened Will Turbits increases Dyad skill cooldown by 15%, and Mod Soul Infest Erupting Abyss was completely reworked. Rose can now use ECP skills in Overstrike. Black Massacre Swift Assassin, Axis of Target locked is always on. Minerva's Aerial Grenade skills no longer move her, a welcome change to any Minerva in Doomophoria. Einerjar's cast speed is faster, and other skill adjustments have been made. Prime Operator's Mecha Drop hits sooner. G1 Corona's timing has been adjusted, and G Mastery and G Extension's descriptions are clearer with adjusted functionality. Richter's Power of Creation passive tooltip now shows a 20% special active damage increase. Ain's Auto-Suggestion, Mod and Unmod, and Jermiel Schwartens no longer launch enemies. His Intervenor passive now grants 10% action speed. The Justicar passive's Ignore Defense is replaced with Awakening Phase times 5 all damage increase. Mod Fragrach now charges with Awakening, not skill use. Blue Hen's Black Bloom cancel timing has been adjusted. Sat's Aurora's cancel timing and casting speed increased by 20% are adjusted. Chant Revelation no longer launches enemies. Vertrun's Melody's range is increased. Requiem, Mod and Unmod casting speed is increased by 30%. Herscher's Befrung Feld, Mod and Unmod stack conditions are changed. Laby's Kapow Punch has had its movement decreased during usage, another welcome change for any Eternity winner in Doomophoria. Great Birth now grants skill charge increases during its buff and allows other skill uses during it. Radiant Soul's Roly Roly and Got You cancellation timing has been adjusted. One Step Forward has been buffed with a 10% special active cooldown reduction and 20% boss/mid-boss damage increase. Nisha Labyrinth Summon BB now decreases physical defense by 30% for 25 seconds. Mod and Unmod Flower Garden damage got buffed and nerfed, as well as having the unmodded skills Vine spawn closer to Laby. And Mod Fantasy has been buffed to decrease hit intervals by 5% per point. The end and beginning passive for Liberator and the Moon's origin skill for Nyx Pieta have had their stack distributions adjusted. White Dwarf's modded and unmodded casting speed is increased by 20%. Mod Extinction's hitbox spawn time is faster. Morpheus's Dark Blood Moon and Polar Night skills have updated stack distributions. Gem Bliss is the only Lithia class with changes. Drumcutter's grounded cancel timing is adjusted for both modded and unmodded versions. Grinder Strike while grounded and Mindy Mining have a 40% cast speed increase and adjusted cancel timing. And Mod Spooderman's Gigadrill Destruction has a 40% cast speed increase. Phew! That was a lot. This patch introduced a lot of changes. I didn't cover every single one here because that would take far too long. But feel free to check out the patch notes yourself to cover what I didn't put here. The curtains are closing for now, but make sure to come on back when we open them again. Have fun everyone, and remember to break some legs and do the whoosh.